So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I hope people are well and in good spirits. So today we're going to be looking at the aura and as a whole on how to sense it, on how to see it if possible, and how that connects with crystals and crystal work. It's very basic. I'm giving a very basic class, but it is something that when you work with crystals, it can really help to know and have that knowledge. So that's what the class is about today. We will do our housekeeping things that I do every time. And that is the 3 C's, which is choosing/care, cleaning, and connection. And choosing, obviously, so I guess that's like the 4 C's. Choosing is what lights you up. Well, if you go into a crystal store, if you're looking online, you're looking on Etsy and you see something and something in you goes, oh my God, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, unless it's out of your price range, because I've done that. And you get your crystal, you just get it in the mail. You're like, oh God, it's so great. Now you need to clean it. Water is an option. There are a number of crystals that are water soluble or can cause rust within them. And so I don't actually use water, but there are many different ways to use different techniques to help clean crystals. For me, the first is smoke. I don't use the word smudging because that is appropriation. And so I use electrical cleaning with smoke. That's the term that I use smoke to electrically clean things. And I do that to clean my crystals, electrically clean my crystals. And so that they are, so then all of those things, and obviously you're going to be holding your crystal in the smoke, and you'll be thinking about having that become clean, getting rid of the connections that were there previously, unless it's someone who gifted it to you and you want to keep that connection, then you can do that mentally as well. So, but smoke is a very, very good cleanser. Sound is also very good. You can use it with one of the Tibetan or one of the singing bowls, and you can. Apparently, it's not called a whacker. I'm not sure what it's called, but a stick that you hit it with. You can put small tumbles or crystals in it and do it, or you can put them around it. And as you hit it, the first time you hit and hear the sound, listen to the tonality and the length that it lasts. So then you hit it enough times so that it feels like it's clearing through, that it has a long-lasting sound. That usually takes 3 or 4. Experiment, figure out what works best with you. That's one of the main things that people know, that's what I want people to do in this class. And then connection, also known as programming or intention. And part of that, I did not get the exercise up, but I'm hopeful this next week I will, which was to get our hands more sensitive to be able to connect to stones, or as today we'll find out, or the aura. And then you can clap, you can get your hands stimulated. You can put them together and start to build an energy if you need to go really close until you feel it. I tend to be about here, so that I can feel the energy building up. The the actual energy center is in the middle of your palm. So if you are programming something like a big crystal like this, then you just put it there and you request the crystal for assistance in that particular area that you need help in, or that you are hoping it will be able to do, able to assist you with. Every crystal has its own frequency, and you and that frequency are going to be different than that stone or crystal with anybody else. I use the analogy of perfume, and if you continue with my class, you will get sick of it, but I use it every time. It's like perfume. You can smell it in the jar or in the bottle, and then it's, oh wow, this smells really good, and you spray it on, and you're like, ooh, this doesn't smell well like I thought it would, or oh my god, it smells so much better. And then your friend can put it on, and it can smell even better on her. So it is. That's one of my analogies that I use with crystals, is that everybody finds a little bit of a different frequency and connection with crystals, in intention and in setting it. You're asking the structure, the stone, the connection that it's connected to assist a particular thing. Now, as I said last week, you can put if all you have is amethyst and selenite, those are the only two you have, you can program them. They can hold anything. Obviously, clear crystal is one of the best, so that it can cover anything. But crystals are programmable to assist you in any way, and they do. So that's part of our sort of housekeeping. Every week we will go over this. And did I forget anything that I need to know with housekeeping? Okay. The other thing to remember is that when I'm in flow, I am not always able to answer chat and to take care of chats. So if you have if you have a question, please write it down. And then after the recording has stopped, we will go over those questions that you have. Or many times you get the question, and because we're trying to be more clairvoyant, we're trying to pick up on frequencies, many times that question will be answered shortly thereafter. So, but please write them down. And that will be one of those things that's important to know. Now, I have a correction that someone pointed out, and then I did a bunch of research this week, and it is to do with satin spar and selenite. And selenite and satin spar and desert rose are all gypsum. And what we usually see and what we usually have is actually satin spar. It is. Now, and it has many of the same attributes. It will clean your stones. It will help you. And I will continue to use my big satin spar log that I put everything that I get on. And oh, that was the other cleaning thing. Sorry. And then you can, but there is a difference between selenite and satin spar, and I've been using the term incorrectly. So I just wanted to clarify that. I will still make mistakes as I get used to changing, because I've been calling satin spar selenite for many, many years. And so it's going to It's going to take a little bit of work, but I just wanted to let people know that what we normally think and what is almost always sold as selenite is actually fat and spar. And so just a correction, and wanted to make sure that it's clear and to be as accurate as possible. So today we're going to talk about the aura. And we did the little hand exercise, which I hope everybody was able to have a chance to do a bit of work. I had said I would type it up as an exercise, and that did not happen. However, I will continue to try and get that to you because there will be more exercises. So there's getting your hands activated and starting, and what you're feeling, that energy that you're feeling is electromagnetic energy. The human body is built by electromagnetic energy all the way down. We are in a physical form and in a dense form, but we are somebody asked about the hand exercise. I'll talk about it after class. So it's just getting your hands sensitized to be able to sense the stone, so that you're open to that connection, and also to help program or connect with the stone, and so that your hands are those energy centers, and there are energy centers on our hands. You wake them up, you ask them to work for you, and the more practice you get, the easier it is to be able to feel it, and be able to have a bigger amount of energy between things. Now, some people have sight, like they can see the energy. I can see a little bit. It's not one of my natural attributes. I can smell things electrically, but I can't see that much. I can see a little bit. So when we talk about the aura, much of it I have felt, and I understand how it works, but I have not necessarily seen it except in very in really rare moments. So the reason we're going over the aura is because it's electromagnetic. And when we work with stones, they are also, and they connect to us. And so it is to be able to have a feel for where it affects you in your aura and in your etheric, and also for self-healing or down the road for healing for others. Yes, so that's the rough and dirty of that, the aura. All right. There's a few things that I'm going to sort of pop in here. It is, even though the scientific community does not accept auras, there is quite a bit of scientific proof that there is an electromagnetic energy around us all. There is a kind of photography, it's called Carillion photography, that can actually photograph auras. And they did some experiments with Carillion photography that was very interesting. Was they took a picture of a leaf, a full leaf, and they could see the energy from the leaf. And then they ripped off some of the leaf. And when they took another picture, it still had that, it still showed where the leaf had been. It was lighter, it was not as dense and dark as where the leaf was, but it was still there. And to me, that explains phantom pain. So if somebody loses something, a limb, a foot, a toe, and they feel pain in it, it is real, it's electromagnetic. And it may not be physical, but it is something to keep in mind that we're all we're all connected. We talk about this a lot in the metaphysical community, is, you know, everything's connected. And guess what? Everything is connected. However, you are also in your own space, the aura. Now, there are different levels in the aura, and I'm going to show you a couple of different tools that can help you gauge the different levels. And then the first is with your hands. And the easiest level, and most of us have seen it, which is that 2 to 4 inch light around a person. And that is called the etheric. That is very much to do with the state of the person's health. There are different levels on the that come out. We've got an electrical, we've got an emotional body, we've got an electrical body, and then we have the auric sheath. So, but the etheric, which is, and I'm really gonna say most of us have seen it. You've seen like a little light around someone's head. Historically, that's what the halo. That's what a halo is it's showing that etheric. It means that someone's someone is connecting to and trying to move forward in their personal development and growth. Many times we see this in art, where angels or JC or Buddha, Mary Magdalene, that they have that around them, and it's showing that they're doing the work. Now it is when you do the hand exercise, and your hands are like getting sort of fizzy and tingly, you can also feel the etheric. It takes practice. So that's why the hand exercise is one of the best examples, because that's how you start, and then that you can feel it. And then you can learn to feel the different levels in your own aura or in someone else's. Now, the etheric is to do with the physical body and physical health. If someone is very healthy and doing really well, very just in themselves, the etheric will be bigger. If someone is pulled in, pain, not well, struggling, it's going to be closer. It's going to be a closer thing. One of the tricks to being able to see it is you have someone stand against a blank wall, a white wall, and then you step back and you relax your eyes. You're not looking, you look at the person, but where your focus is on the edge. And that way, many times people can see the aura, they can see the auric sheath, and sometimes they can see the bodies. So that practicing that is the exercise for this week. I will write it up along with the hand exercise so that we can continue building on that. So with the aura, it is many times you can take, I use satin spar most often to help with my, to help with cleaning my aura. You can take anything, and you can sort of move it around with the intention that you're cleaning your space. There are certain stones that can help keep the external electromagnetic frequencies from interfering with your own. Lepidolite, shungite, I'll just say those two for right now. But that's also, if you get headaches when you go to bed, if you've got a power outlet behind where your head is and you're using it to charge things, try and find another place. Because that can, as you sleep, your aura, your crown comes down and comes into your body, and it processes it out and then gets you ready for the next day. And so if there's interference due to electricity, physical electricity, that's something to keep in mind. Am I going too fast? Can someone let me know if I'm going too fast? Am I going too fast? Because I feel like I'm going too fast. Nope. Okay, cool. So that's the auric sheath. And so, like crystals, everybody's got a different definition. Everybody's got a different idea. This is how I learned. This is what has worked for me. It is not set in stone. It is that if you find out other information that suits you better and works better for you, please utilize that. This is just to get us thinking about our body being more than just our body, that our body is this electromagnetic field that is moving and is going through and always changing, just like we are internally. So etheric, the next one is the emotional body. It usually is about that far out on mine. That's about how far out it is. And then, I'm gonna have to just do a little cul-de-sac. There are tools to help you feel and find the edges of the aura and the different layers. One of the best tools is dowsing rods. These are my dowsing rods. They are with a little thingy here, so it's easier for them to spin on their own. And it's easier to do it with another person and on another person, but you can do it on yourself. And you can say, where is my emotional body? And it will cross where it is. And then it'll start to uncross at, oh, you guys can't see, shit. Sorry. So you have them, you hold them, they're moving around. So if I say, where is my emotional body edge? Then you start to move out and it will move and cross where that is. And if you move past it, it will start to uncross. Now, these are specially made for me. Someone made for me. These are my other ones. And what these are, guess what these are? Coat hangers, the old style coat hangers. So with the old style coat hangers, you can make your own dowsing rods, and you can put it together. So I'm thinking about my emotional body, so it's already trying to cross. So you can start further out and then say, I want to find the edge of my emotional body. And then it will cross over when you've hit that. And so that's one of the tools that is very effective in learning how to work with your aura and learning how to feel the different levels. The other tool is a pendulum. And I find I do a lot with my pendulum. I love my pendulum. And you can do anything. It can be a necklace on a string. It does not have to look like fancy like mine. And I have like 30 or some stupid amount. But it is, as always with pendulums, you always start over where you go, yes, and then it decides the direction it wants to go. And you stop it and you say, no, and then it decides what it wants to do. So mine's going back and forth as a no for today. And then you can say, please respond when you hit my emotional body. And it's responding about here, which is where I had said that I felt that it was, which was about that far. And that's the emotional body. And that body's also, because of our world being so very, it's really the more people, when I say thank you, mine comes to a complete standstill. Oh, that's awesome. I have to do that. I've been neglectful in my pension. Someone wrote, when I say thank you, mine comes to a complete standstill. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Let's all start doing that. And if everybody's been doing that, I'm late to the party, I'll start doing it. So that's you have your etheric, you have your body, you have your etheric, you have your emotional body. Then comes your mental body, and that's further out. And then comes the auric sheath, which goes all the way, and it goes down into the ground below you as well. It's just an egg shape. We've all seen pictures of it. And that is called the auric sheath. And it is one of the easiest, besides the etheric, it's one of the easiest things to feel, because when you're coming into it, you'll feel a little bit of like, I was going to say like a pop, like you've gone through a layer, and that's usually the auric sheath. Now, for example, when I go into crowds, which is not my favorite fun time activity, I pull my aura in. So I'm not picking up as much of stuff that's around, because I'm sensitive to things flying around and emotional and other people's stuff. I'm sensitive to it. I wear crystals as protection. And then if I'm going into a crowd, or I go into a place where I'm unsure of myself, unsure of the situation, I pull it in so it's closer to me, and so that it's less likely to be having other frequencies picking up. One of the things that I do, which I have never mentioned, but it is what I do, when I'm putting my bracelets on as part of my getting ready for the day, and as part of my shielding process that I go through every single morning, is I also put a blue shield around my aura as a level of protection. You can put black, you can put black and white stripes, you can put whatever color works for you. Blue, and being having blue is the color that works the best for me. And it is supposed to help with not being seen, in terms of, if you cover something with blue, it should be harder for people to pick up on. Like, I try it with my son. He's very good though. I get cake, or we have something in the fridge or something, and I put a little blue shield around it, and it doesn't work, not with him, but I still try. And so those are the different levels of the aura. And if you've done any research into Egypt, they have the crown that comes up. And electrically, we also have that crown, and it is attached to the crown energy center, and it goes up, and it connects to the auric sheath. And then the auric sheath also is our storage space, our cloud drive, our cloud. It's where we save our information. So someone who's very good may be able to sometimes pick up things from the auric sheath that as you come in. The auric sheath, I don't know how much people know about the Van Allen belts of the planet. It's these, it's a shield that goes around the planet, starts at the North Pole, and it looks like this. It looks like half an apple, and it comes in, energy comes in the north, and then like this, and then it goes back in, and then it goes like this. Those Van Allen belts are the planet's auric sheath. So when that's where meteorites or debris coming back into the planet, that's the point when it pops through the Van Allen belts, that's the point when it starts to burn. Usually they've already got stuff going on, and I don't know the exact chemical makeup to do with that, but that's where it starts to catch in and just be, it's a protection for the planet, just like our auric sheath is a protection for us. On this level, does anybody have any questions to do with this? Because I think this is a really big topic. And if I've skipped something, because it's something that I've thought about and do very automatically, I'm going to open up the floor if anybody has any questions in regards to the different layers of the aura and the auric sheath, as well as the etheric. Does anybody have any questions? Either I did a really good job of explaining it, or I've stunned everybody.
I actually have a question, Tanya, and it might be off the topic. When you were talking about the satin spar and the cellulite, how do you determine the difference between them to be able to use it for the aura, like checking the aura?
They carry the same attributes. So
is there a difference in the, like the stone itself? Because I have like plenty of the cellulite, but I didn't realize it was.
I didn't either.
Possibly the same stone too.
Right, I didn't either, and I've been doing this for years. So you have, this is selenite. Excuse me, sorry. This is satin spar, and I would use it exactly the same way that I would use all my satin spar sticks that I use, that I have my bracelets with, that I have with most of my stones. I have little pieces in there to keep them clean. That is what I would use, because that's what I've got. Selenite, from what I understand, and I just did a little bit of research, is that it tends to be more clear and it comes more in sheets, whereas satin spar comes in layers that are more flaky. And like if you've ever run your finger along a piece of satin spar, you can get a splinter. So they are both water soluble, and they both carry the attributes to being able to clean your aura, to be able to clean things, and to be able to clean your house. If you put them in corners and you intentionally connect them to help clean things, they can clean your stones. I got some new stones this week, and I put all of them, as soon as I got them, I put them all in a bowl of satin spar, previously known as selenite. So I would use that. I would continue using what you have, and then just be aware that most of the time when people say that it's selenite, that it's actually not. It is not. I would not correct someone. I would not correct someone, because it would just be an argument that you don't need to have. It's fine. If you want to call it selenite, that's fine. But if you're buying it for real, then you need to make sure that it's like someone saying this is selenite, and then it looks like it's not, then you have that. So
when I go by crystal stores, I mean, obviously they're referring to it as cellulite too, because I mean, everyone that I have, and I know it now just by looking at your stuff, it actually is probably the satin spars are. And I mean, even manufacturers, I mean, like when you
I have a crystal store that I use a lot. They're a little bit more expensive and they use it. I checked because I was like, shit. And I'm actually going to write to the owner, because I have a relationship with him, and find out what he knows, because he's very knowledgeable, and find out what he knows and what's that's the so somebody wrote she thought that there was 5, more like 5. Okay, so you have the etheric, that's 1. You have the emotional body, that's 2. You have the mental body, and then you have the auric sheath. At the top, you also have your spiritual runs along on the inside of the auric sheath. I didn't really bring that up because that's a harder topic in a sense, but there is the spiritual level as well. So there are actually 5. We're keeping it simple. Like I said, this was just a really basic understanding: etheric, emotional, mental, spiritual, sheath. And if you're doing healing, you can feel when your hands are activated. Sometimes if you move your hands slowly around an aura, you can feel hot spots, and then you can pull that hot spot off and flick it out and then smooth it over. So that is one amazing way. You can also, because we have these centers, these other energy centers in our body that go in and out and are part of the aura, but they also are part of the body. If you can run your hand either up, and you'll feel the heat gathering around your hand. Sometimes it actually feels kind of muddy, and then you can flick that off. You can clean someone's spinal cord, because that's where a lot happens. And it's something I would recommend practicing it. I don't have anyone to practice with, but I sure wish I did, because I would love someone to be able to clear off some of the static that's built up on my spine. Does that help? That was so Carrie, did you know that this is satin spar?
Yes. Yeah.
Why didn't you correct me?
Because you know what? To me, it doesn't make a difference. Like, gypsum is gypsum. You know what I mean? Like, some people want to get so technical about it, but like, what do you vibe with? Do you vibe with desert rose, selenite, satin spar? To me, I just feel like there's like so much gatekeeping when it comes to just, crystals and, just the whole all of it, you name it. And there's so much gatekeeping that really, if you connect to it, that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
Maybe you don't connect to that, but you connect to clear quartz. Like, do your thing, jelly bean. You know what I mean? So, but I do have some at home, but we're not at home right now. And so the next class that I am there, I can show you. I have some plates of it, and it does look different. It kind of looks clear, like ice.
Yeah.
And
I actually have some as well, but I didn't realize.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know. I get the same vibration. I like them because they're flat. I keep them. I put like new crystals on them. I kind of put satin spar pieces around my house for, clearing the energy and keeping it positive and lifted. And I like the satin spar for that.
Okay.
And satin spar tends to be a little less expensive. And so I like the fact that I can place it in every nook and cranny around my house.
Well, and I have little pieces in all of my drawers with all of my.
Yeah, exactly.
And I couldn't afford, for the cost of actually what selenite cost, I couldn't afford to do that. So you're right. Anyway, so yes, next time please bring, so we can keep it. It is, it is one of those things that people have a lot of things about crystals. They read one book and they think that that's the way it always is. And that is why, and you know this, and those people have been here before, but I always, I may have a feeling with a certain specific stone. I keep that in account, but when we're going to go over 2 stones today, but when I go over stones, I look at 4 to 5 different authors to see what the frequency connection is, to see what they agree on. And then those are the terms that I use for those stones. Mixed with my own sense. I'm not going to pick, if it says something that just doesn't feel right to me, I'm not going to use that, but that is part of how I work. Everybody has their own way with stones. Having a satin spar stick and you wave it around can make a huge difference. You can do a lot for yourself. But the 3 that I mentioned, the 3 basic levels that I mentioned, were just so that we can start to get the idea of the aura that we're in, that aura bubble that we're in, the little egg shape that we're in, and then how those layers come out. There are connections that come out of most joints in the palm, come out of your hips, your knees, the earth star, obviously down in the ground, connecting up. And so there's lots of ways and lots of information that will be added along this course as I move forward. But I wanted to start with this because then next week we will be starting on the root energy center tied in with the earth energy center, which is the one that's at your feet, below your feet. And I wanted to make sure that people were starting to get a feel for the electromagnetic body that we live in. And trying to keep it kind of simple because it can get very complex, and it can get, as Carrie knows, it can get very nitpicky. And people, that's not what I heard. That's fine. As Carrie said, you do you, Jelly Bean. What is it? That's right. You do you. You do you. But if it feels right, I'm always for this. I'm a home health and hospice medical social worker and therapist. And every single conversation that I have with my patients is, are you listening to yourself? Are you trusting yourself? Because that's the most important thing in life that we can do, is trust our gut. Science is now deciding that possibly the gut is a second brain. And then they're like, oh, well, the heart's also kind of got its own agenda. So the science is starting to catch up with what has been known for thousands and thousands of years. And there's a great book. If you feel for some light reading, it's this big. And it is Cindy Dale's Complete Book of Chakras. And it is, it's awesome because she has done the research for many, many, many different countries and how those line up with what we think of classically Hindu chakras. And I call them energy centers, but she looks at the meridians. And so the meridians, the aura in that that part of that straight up and down is tied very clearly to the meridians. And so there's lots of, it's a great book as a resource book. So everybody knows me. I don't promote that much, but I'll tell you, it's worth the money to get because it'll answer a lot of questions as you go along. Okay, so we just went over the aura. This is really basic. I would like people to either practice feeling, whether it's with a pendulum, find some old hangers and make some dowsing. If you have a stick that you've worked with that will respond, you can use whatever will flow in your hands and will cross when you hit something. Practice on something physical. I'm going to go, let me know when we get to the edge of the book. Okay, we've gotten to the edge of the book. So practice with it so you have a feel of it, and then find a volunteer and, start checking out with them. You can also do it in the mirror. It is more difficult, but again, it's a softening of the eyes and you're focusing straight, but you're being aware. I'm sorry. But you are aware of the flow of things around it, so that you're looking straight ahead, you're focusing straight ahead, but you're trying to sort of see the edge of something. And that will be very useful to and those are, so the exercise is doing something. Hang on, people, I'm gonna have to turn off my phone because it's just gonna keep ringing if I don't. Hang on one second, I'm so sorry. Okay. Can't remember. Can you use your dog? Absolutely. Everything, they're not going to have the same exact the external bodies, but they will have an etheric, and they will have a sheath around them. So absolutely, you can use your dog. That's a great question. That's a great try. It is just as easier when you have someone to work with, but if you don't, you don't, and you just do it yourself. Or if you don't have a safe situation where this kind of work is open, then I get it. You can ask someone to stand there and just say, I just want to stare at you for a few minutes. I don't know if that would go over great, but just an idea. But find the way that works best with you. And so on that note, I chose 2 crystals for today. I usually, I pick crystals the day of the class so that I can feel what is around and what's going to work best for me. So 2 crystals. The first is Aragonite. And this is a cluster. So this is specific to brown. And then this is a tumbled. They look quite different. Many times stones can feel very similar when they're tumbled. I have found that these 2 stones feel quite different between tumbled and the clusters. So so then you can use either one. And they are, got my notes with everybody's sayings. So we're starting from the bottom, because in looking at how, if we want to kind of clear and connect everything out, as opposed to getting the 7 stones to clean the energy centers, and selenite is, if you're trying to clean out and balance and get things in working order together, that's what both stones that I chose are good for. So this is from the bottom up. It is brown, and that very much is to do with the Earth star beneath our feet. and it starts there, and the energy of it, which is it's grounding and provides stability. It is creating, it's centering. And as it moves up, you can do it. You could bend over and move it up. You could meditate with it and hold it and imagine going from the Earth star, moving it up into your body. This is way speeded up and then out. And so it helps. It's an energy cleanser. So if there's been some noisy energy, if things have just been off a little bit, we are in a state in the world where it's really easy to pick up unwanted vibrations. And so this is one way to help balance from the bottom up. And it is, this is not one that I had thought of, but and that I felt it after I read it, but 3 different people said that it enhances patience and tolerance, sort of being able to put up with stuff. I will be having one in my car going forward because I lose my patience there. And it does help with focus, but it starts from the bottom and it'll go through the root, it'll go through the sacral and the solar plexus and the heart and the throat and the third eye and then the crown and out. I would use it by bending down and starting and rolling up, sort of like a Pilates exercise or something, and sort of roll up using it like that and then out. Whatever works for you. Meditating, one in your hand, meditating with you gazing on it, carrying it around and just thinking about some of the qualities as the day goes on to try and keep yourself balanced so that one center doesn't get too much energy, gets hot or cold, it doesn't get enough, it gets cold. This will help keep everything in balance. And it's very good for that energetic flow. It's argonite. I will add another, hang on. And it comes in different colors, but the brown and the cluster and the brown are the ones that start with the Earth star. It comes in many different colors. The blue one is absolutely stunning. It's an amazing blue. And it is, that is much more to do with the throat, not so much to do with sort of the full balancing. Obviously, it still has many of the same chemicals. All you've got is blue, use blue. But it is an amazing stone. Now, in my looking for stones that deal with all of the energy centers, I didn't know this, but I found out that my very favorite stone, I shouldn't say that. One of my favorite stones is actually one that helps with energy alignment, and it is lepidolite. I love lepidolite. It has made such a difference. I think I spelled that right. I can't see it now. It's too far away. So that's the stone. I love it. It is, so lepidolite has a whole bunch of lithium in it as a natural part of its component and its build. And so, as we know, lithium can help a lot with moods And so that's where I have always come at it, was very much from a stress relief, anxiety, and being able to, come to the third eye to be able to pull things together. So when I started doing the reading about how it works with all of them, so the aragonite came up from the bottom, and this very much comes from the top, and it comes down. It has a close connection with the third eye and the heart. However, that is not its only connections. And I had not fully explored some of the frequencies that it can carry. Now, one of the things that happens when you study and you learn more about different crystals is that you begin to feel different frequencies from the ones that you've already worked with. And so that's just the coolest. I think that's just awesome sauce. But and so it is calming and stress relieving, like I said. It helps emotionally balance and get things more stable, which I've always felt. It can help with sleep and insomnia, which I did not know. And it is really good for aura cleansing. So it's one of these stones, like satin spar, that you can use to cleanse your aura. Now, once you start to feel different layers of your aura and you start to sort of get that into your consciousness and into how you run, then you will notice if you pick up something, and you'll notice that if it's going to a specific place, that probably it's just the place that needs it. Because that's where you're going instinctually, and then clear it off. I would, if you're using it, and just like I have my necklace on, my lepidolite necklace that I wear quite often, and every night I take it off and I put it in a satin spar bowl to be cleansed. So this is the mica. This is an unpolished one. And then it can come in, and then I got, this is it in mica form. Like literally mica. And then it comes in different shades. So the new shade that everybody likes is the lilac. It's called lilac lepidolite. And that's going to be a lighter type of stone. It can also be dark. It can sometimes look a little bit like you think, is this amethyst or is this lepidolite? And the way you can always tell is there's sparkles in lepidolite. There are little, you'll see little sparks in it, and that's how you know a difference between it, because sometimes they can look very similar. This is my worry stone, and it actually does. The first thing I was like, oh God, have I been using that wrong? But then I saw a bunch of the little sparkles and I was like, no, it's right. And so that can help. It's also, it helps with spiritual growth, which we are all, you wouldn't be here if that wasn't something that was important to you. And that wasn't something that you were trying to incorporate in your life. And so it can help with that. And then the electromagnetic protection. So shungite is our big one that we all know. I keep just a small piece by my bed. And I am still in the process of researching. This is a side note on shungite. It apparently has some heavy metals in it that are released in the water. I've been using one in my water for a very long time, and I did not know this. I got a scientific abstract and research paper sent to me that I've not had time to read the full thing. So there are possibly some effects that I was not aware of, but shungite really does help with electromagnetic shielding. I have one on my router. I have one by my bed. I have them all over the house where there's collections. I have one in my son's room on his Xbox, by his Xbox. Anything that is emitting a lot of electromagnetic frequency, I have as much. I try and put a piece as I can, as close as I can. That's shungite. But yeah, so the lepidolite kind of comes down and then balances by going from the top down, whereas the aragonite comes from the bottom up. Now, you may find it easier to feel or to work with if you're using one coming down or one coming up, but it helps balance all of the centers that we have that get filled with noise and static and heat and just life that makes us sometimes feel out of balance and out of character. And so it can be, I like to blame astrology because I don't know much about astrology, so I'm always blaming astrology, but sometimes it's just stuff that you picked up during the day and you just need to take a quick shower and then possibly use some stones to clear up the noise that's come around. And I think that certainly I am absolutely under the impression that I have underestimated the capacity of lepidolite. And I am super excited now that I know more about it to be able to do more work and to be able to do more experimenting. So today we went over, we did the housekeeping that we usually do. We went over getting our hands up and moving and connected. We talked about the aura, starting with the etheric, emotional body, mental body, and then the auric sheath were the four that I focused on. There are other layers. There's connections to different organs. I tried to keep it simple so that people could start to work with it, and then we can get more complicated as we move along with crystals. So next week, we will be working on black, brown, and red, and to do with the root energy center. The reason I'm putting black and brown is because we have sort of colors are very fixed with the whole chakra phenom. And so it is, it behooves us to be able to tie in as much as possible. So we will be starting with the colors. We'll probably go over some of the crystals and a little bit of what that color and that energy center frequency ties to. I will see how it goes. It may be something that needs 2 classes. I don't know, because they're big subjects. Color is one huge subject, and the energy center is another one, both tied to color and to different crystals. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm hoping that we can just do it in the one and kind of get it condensed and sort of keep moving forward. We will I hope today was insightful and useful, and please do come back. We will get more fun because this is a kind of a heavier and bigger topic. We will get lighter the more that we continue to work with stones and different centers, and what they connect to will be a bit lighter than today. But I hope everyone learned something and enjoyed the class. I am going to stop the recording now. Because I'm so good at this.
I was going to say we lost audio for a second, but you came back.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's probably my earbuds because God knows.
No, you're good.
Interesting. It's usually right there. Hang on one second. I'm going to have Alex chop this part out. Okay, stop recording. So we are finished with this part of class.